Welcome to the third St. Baldrick's Foundation Impact Series live stream, the live stream that helps give kids a lifetime. My name is Kathleen Ruddy. I'm the CEO of the St. Baldrick's Foundation, and you're in for an inspiring 30 minutes as my special guest today is Alexa Moore. Alexa's a 16-year-old high school junior and a childhood cancer survivor. When she isn't acting, singing, or dancing, she loves volunteering and coordinating St. Baldrick's events, as well as serving as a distinguished 2021 St. Baldrick's Foundation ambassador. Alexa is here to share her journey with cancer and how her experience inspires her to help other kids battling cancer by helping to raise funds for life-saving research. Before you meet Alexa, let's take a quick trip back to see her when she first earned the title Cancer Warrior.
Hi, Lex.
What's today?
What was that?
Throwing out all my medicine.
You're throwing out all your medicine? How do you feel?
I threw one out now.
Okay, let's see what they are. Tell me what they are.
There was one poo-poo medicine was big.
Okay.
And this poo-poo medicine is little. Throwing out.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye, medicine.
Bye.
What time is it? To throw away my medicine forever. Woo! What do you want to say, Missy? We're on the road, on the way to Sloan. It's 6 o'clock. You're a happy girl. What'd you just say? It was so funny.
The doctors are gonna recognize me. Because I have long hair.
Yeah, what are they going to say?
They're gonna say, this isn't a cancer person. Get out of here.
That's right. Ooh,
But I ended up running into this little girl. Her name is Alexa, and she has a fabulous story. She's going to tell you a little something, and then I'll tell you what it is afterwards, okay?
I fired cancer.
She's on her Make-A-Wish trip, and she's a 1-year cancer-free today.
Remember when I wore this like you and I didn't have any hair? But look at me now. I'm a supergirl.
And look at Supergirl now, everyone. Welcome, Alexa.
Hi, I'm so honored to be here.
Alexa, we're so glad to have you with us, and it's wonderful to be able to see you then and see you today. So you were diagnosed with cancer at a very young age. What, if anything, do you remember about your childhood cancer diagnosis and treatment?
Well, as you said, I was very young. I was only 3 years old when I was diagnosed with clear cell sarcoma of the kidney. So thankfully, I don't remember much because obviously it was a very traumatic experience for my family. What I do know is I would not be here today without amazing organizations like St. Baldrick's, because they do so much to raise funds for cancer research for childhood cancer. And I know that's definitely one of the main reasons that I'm sitting here today, along with the support of my family and friends during the time, and all my doctors and nurses at Sloan, but especially my pediatrician, Dr. Hoffelina at Mid-Suffolk Pediatrics. How it went down was one day I just went in for my regular well visit with my parents, and we were just thinking it was going to be a regular day, and he felt something in my stomach when he was just doing the checkup, and he told my mom that I needed to get an ultrasound immediately. Right away, we needed to go that night. And it was kind of a shock because we were confused and had no idea what he was talking about. And that ended up being the tumor. And without that happening, without me going to that well visit, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today.
The importance of ongoing care and follow-up and the parent's intuition of making sure that those little things that are more likely to be nothing, but they still get looked at. That's so important. And it strikes me, Alexa, that you were born the year we started the St. Baldrick's Foundation. So how wonderful it is that you're here with us today. You're definitely a big accomplishment for this foundation that we helped you get to this point. How has having childhood cancer and being a survivor shaped who you are today?
Well, it has had a lasting impact on me and my entire family. Our motto in this house is no wasted days. Live life to the fullest and use that day to have a positive impact on someone else who is either going through what I went through or just needs positive impact on their life that day. When I took my frequent trips to Sloan as I was going back after treatment was over, just getting checkups, I would look around and say, how can I help all these kids that I was one of these kids at one point? And the first thing that struck my mind was, how can I help them get to where I am today? So I have been very fortunate to participate in many St. Baldrick's events at my mom's school. She works in Sachem School District. And the first time that they had their first St. Baldrick's event was in honor of me, because my mom went to her school and explained what we were going through, and they took it on right away. They were so easy to take on this huge event, and they've been doing it ever since. And at the first event, I shaved my dad's head. I went on stage and I shaved his head in front of everyone, and that's something that will forever be in my mind. I'll never forget that day. And ever since then, as I've been growing up, I've become a guest speaker at the events at her school. And as it goes on, as I get older, it gets harder, because now I'm speaking in front of an audience that's my age. And these kids don't go through what I went through. So explaining my story to them, it's probably a shock for them to see how I'm still standing there in front of them after I went through all of this. But they're always so supportive, and it's very inspiring to see them just get up and go shave their head for a cause like this selflessly. It's really amazing.
I love what you were saying there about seize the day. It's the Latin version of that is carpe diem, and that became really popular and a mantra that we used or kind of grew up with in my youth. So I'm going back a few years, but it's kind of what we do at St. Baldrick's. We always say there's never a bad day to help kids with cancer, and you have been doing that all along the way. And so many volunteers, like your dad, Tom, have shaved their heads in solidarity with kids with cancer. For those in our audience who aren't familiar with the St. Baldrick's Foundation, Alexa has just described our signature fundraising activity, which is where volunteers bravely shave their heads bald in solidarity with kids, because kids typically lose their hair during treatment. Alexa, your family has been involved for so many years. As you said, your dad has shaved. You and your mom, you've volunteered alongside your mom at events, and you've organized your own event. Why is it so important to your family that you continue to stay involved?
Well, I'm not sure that I would have even known about St. Baldrick's had I not fought my own battle and gotten all the support from my family and friends and doctors that I did. As I mentioned before, my mom works at Sachem, and they do their St. Baldrick's events there. But when that inspired me so much to have my own event 2 years ago at my junior high, Murphy Junior High School, with the help of my student government advisors and vice principal and principal. And we raised over $12,000 at that one event. It was our first event ever, and it was a huge success. And it was so inspiring to see that I was able to do that with all my friends, and it was truly amazing. And I think really all the support that I got during my journey inspired my family to stay involved in St. Baldrick's.
So it's interesting because you've described something that was really your accomplishment together with your school, and achieving that kind of, realizing that kind of financial result and so forth. I think one of the things that's unique about this foundation is that every volunteer is integral to the research pipeline, if you will, because the amount that's raised in each community is very much the volunteers' collective accomplishment. Our staff works with volunteers and kind of equips and supports them to implement the event and run the event in their community. But what they raise is 100% the volunteers' achievement. And I think a lot of people really feel so much pride, and justly so, but also that responsibility to keep going because they know the kids are depending upon them. And so thank you for being one of those families that is a go-to for the foundation and who are continuing to bring more people to the side of kids with cancer. Now, I understand that this year you're organizing what we call a Do What You Want event. Tell us a little bit about your plans this year.
So I have that page that was set up, which is called, it's on the bottom actually. That's the link to it if you want to donate. And this is just a page to basically, since we can't necessarily do a head shaving event this year, this is just where you could donate money that goes to childhood cancer research. But also, I attend War Melville High School, where I've been on the board of student government for 2 years. And with the help of my 3 amazing advisors, we planned an event for last year, which COVID hit and we unfortunately couldn't go through with it. But I've been talking to my principal this year and we're trying to figure out a way to do some sort of virtual event. The details haven't been all planned out, but I'm definitely going to do something to try and help because just because we're in a pandemic right now, I don't want that to stop me from funding childhood cancer research.
Well, thank you for that. You know, a lot of people, we've all been so focused on overcoming COVID, and rightly so, but the focus on that and the distraction from other important needs in society has really created more of a crisis in the childhood cancer research community as well. And for researchers whose the ability for them to continue their work is in question, because if the money isn't there for it, that work stops and there are kids' lives depending upon it. So we need to find a way to solve all these problems and to conquer every disease. So thank you for doing your part, Alexa. Why do you, besides what we've kind of said, why else should listeners and society as a whole think about lending their support to childhood cancer research?
Well, this is very easy. This is an easy one to answer because every 2 minutes, a child is told you have cancer. And that is a crazy statistic because if you think about it in real world, during this 30-minute interview, 15 parents have been told your child has cancer. And the impact of those words on parents, as I've seen from my own parents, is traumatic. And if the child is young, like I was, you don't understand what cancer means until you go through it. But if you're a teenager or an adult, you understand what you're being told when you're being told that you have cancer. And you understand what that comes with. And that's why I think it's so important to keep thinking about raising funds for cancer because it never stops. And an example of that is my aunt was diagnosed with a pediatric Ewing sarcoma at age 45, which shows that cancer doesn't have rules because an adult, a 45-year-old adult, was diagnosed with a pediatric cancer. And she unfortunately passed away 5 years ago from it. So cancer is very rampant in my family, unfortunately. So that's why I also think it's very important to get the word out there because I'm sure so many other families are affected by cancer. And we need to keep stressing the fact that we need to find a cure for this.
Mm-hmm. That's very well said. And as we learn more and more about cancer and how it behaves and genetic mutations and other, cancer predisposition syndrome and all this, we can start to see more about how cancers that previously looked like they weren't related to each other might actually be cousins or siblings or something in terms of diseases. And that creates new opportunities for research, because we can leverage work that's being done for one type of cancer, whether it be adult or pediatric, and potentially make gains for another patient population through that same research. So it's so important that we continue this, because, it's not just about making sure that people survive cancer, but making sure that they can thrive afterwards. And so many people, Alexa, I find still don't really know that when a child survives cancer, 99% of them are going to have some kind of chronic health condition that was caused by the treatment that saved their lives. And they'll have that by the time they're in middle age, because the treatments, chemotherapy, surgery, and radiation being the main ones, burning, cutting, and poisoning, are so toxic on a developing body and mind. So it's so important that we create more humane treatments like immunotherapy and potentially other things down the line that can really help us save more patients of every age, but especially kids, so that we can do, as our tagline suggests, give kids a lifetime. So let me ask you something. When you were in treatment, your catchphrase was, "Cancer, you're fired." What does it mean to you to fire cancer, Alexa?
So when you're told the words, "you have cancer," a switch flips. Everything in your world turns upside down, not just for the patient, but for the entire family and the people around you. Cancer becomes a full-time job. You need to go to the hospital. You need to get up every single day at the crack of dawn to get to the hospital. And then eventually you get sick and, like you said, have to go through all those toxic treatments in order to try and save yourself. And when you're going through those treatments, like I said, it's a full-time job. It's never ending. You're there every day and it's crazy. But when you're done with that treatment, like in that video that played at the beginning, when I threw out all my medicine and said, "Cancer, you're fired," you're done. When you're told that your cancer is fired, you're done with everything. It's usually a bad thing to hear when you're fired from a job. Like when an adult is fired from their job, it's usually traumatic. But this is the best thing that you can hear when you're in cancer treatment, is that your cancer is fired. It's gone forever.
I had never thought about it that way before until I heard you say it on your video. And I think that's a very succinct, powerful way to do that. And it gives you a feeling of more power over your cancer. And, when I think about all this and I watch your video and I hear you speak, I can't help but say, Alexa, that nobody would blame you if you wanted to move on, and that you didn't want to live in this daily kind of thing of conquering cancer. Like you didn't want cancer to define your life, certainly, and it doesn't. But no one would blame you if you wanted to say, "That's my past and I'm going to focus on a different future." But yet you're choosing every day to keep going. You've certainly said that it's for the kids, but why is it personally important to you to keep going? What is your motivation there?
Well, I think using my past and the things that my family has gone through to help others and keep them to push forward and to keep them optimistic and tell them that they're going to get through it and that they're going to fire cancer, that's the most important thing to me, because so many people get bad attitudes during cancer, which is extremely normal, because you hear the words, "you have cancer," and the first thing that might come to your mind is, "I'm not going to survive." But by me saying that you're going to fire cancer and you will get through this, I think that gives many people hope, the feeling that they have a chance. And I think that the reason my family continues to stay optimistic and help other people, other families that are going through this is because of all the support that I got. When I was in treatment, my mom set up a Caring Bridge site, and she got so many random people that she has never met, still has no idea who they are, supporting me and telling her how to handle it, which I think is so amazing because these were just people that read my story and thought that I was good enough to give their time into. And I think that's why we keep going.
You know, I think about the fact that 1 in 5 kids are not going to survive cancer. And I love that you're paying it forward, if you will, because for those kids who can't say that themselves because their story wrapped up in a way that was not what we were wishing for them, you're getting to the point where you're going to fire that cancer for the next kid who follows in their footsteps. So I think that's a beautiful commitment and spirit. And you're a very inspiring young woman, Alexa. What would you say to encourage others to get involved?
Well, I would say that I know that I'm not the only family that has been touched by cancer because it's one of the most prominent diseases in the world. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure every family who has been touched by cancer in some sort of way, it changes you. It changes your life forever, no matter what the outcome is. And seeing St. Baldrick starting at such like a low point and growing to gaining so many supporters and being an amazing foundation that helps so many kids and people around the world, I think that this inspires me and should inspire other people to give back to their community. It doesn't have to be anything big. You don't have to set up your own fundraiser. You can have a bake sale, or you can just spread awareness, and anything, even if it's small, can help.
That is so true. In these times, particularly since COVID, I've been hearing more and more, from people, I'm not sure if what I can give will really make a difference. And St. Baldrick's has always been an aggregator, if you will. It's everybody brings what they can to the table, and together we are all doing great things. You know, St. Baldrick's has been part of virtually every advancement in the field of childhood cancer since we began and had our first event 20 years ago, and since we started the foundation 16 years ago. That's powerful. And in that time, the overall survival rate went from 79% to 84%. We're not going to give up until we have 100% and until we can ensure that every child gets a quality of life that we want for them, so that they're not dealing with other health problems their whole life long because of the treatment they got in their youth. So we have a long way to go, but that track record of success is proving that research works and that it's a great investment of someone's charitable dollar, their hours, their time, et cetera. Almost 17,000 kids a year in the US alone are diagnosed with cancer. And I think you've given us all reason today to think about why we want to do it, and just preserving the innocence of that little girl we saw dressed up as Supergirl and on the airplane going to Florida for her Make-A-Wish trip, and all those wonderful experiences and all the things you're going to do yet in your life, Alexa, not forgetting the years in between your treatment and today. So you give us a lot to think about, and all of us cherish our children's futures, and we certainly cherish yours.
Thank you.
So I just, while we have a minute left, why don't we see if there are any chat and comments or questions from our listening audience that we'll share today. So we see, Mark Levine has said, "You are truly amazing and inspiring." Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Lori Hewlett, what a wonderful, well-spoken advocate for St. Baldrick's. Well done, Alexa. You all agree. Elizabeth Weska Madrigal, thank you and your family for sharing your story. This is great. I know your mom and dad are watching, and your doctor, and probably all your friends. Alexa, I think that you were sharing with me that they are all excited about you being an ambassador, and you were explaining what that means.
Yeah.
Not every day someone people rarely get to meet an ambassador. So why don't you tell everybody about your role?
Well, it is a huge honor to have been picked to be an ambassador because, like I've been saying, I am such a strong advocate for childhood cancer research, and just being able to speak about it and speak about my story and inspire other people, as they said in the comments, it just makes me feel so happy. And knowing that other kids are going through what I went through 13 years ago right now, it's heartbreaking, and I want to do everything I can to make sure that I can try to get rid of this disease and find a cure.
Hear, hear. Well, thank you, Alexa, for your inspiring story, for your poignant words today, for your commitment to pay it forward by helping other kids. If any of you in our listening audience would like to join Alexa in being a hero for kids with cancer, please visit our website, www.stbaldricks.org, or email us at joinus@stbaldricks.org, or you can call us at 888-899-BALD. Thanks to all of you for joining us. I invite you to tune in again next month for the Impact series and hear how St. Baldrick's national partners are committed now more than ever to ensuring children with cancer have less toxic treatments and cures. From Alexa and all of us at the St. Baldrick's Foundation, thanks for helping give kids a lifetime.